Hello. This video is going to be the first of a series, possibly 6 of them, where I'm going to be showing how to put together a flight plan log particularly for a short trip. And I'm going to show you how to do it using different calculation tools. So this first video, I'm going to be just setting up the flight plan log and the actual flight plan on the map, do the measurements there. And the next videos after that, I'm going to show how to do the calculations necessary to get to the point where I know what my ETA is going to be, or ETE at least, and how much fuel I'm going to consume in my trip. So first I've got a map set up here, a VNC it's the Toronto VNC, showing the area from Rockcliffe to Kingston. I haven't drawn the line yet, and I will do this in a second. And I will also fill in the information in terms of weather that we need for the different stages on that and for the different calculations. So here we go. So we've got the VNC here, and I've got my map set up so that you can see Rockcliffe and you can see Kingston. Now I'm going to set this up as we often do with our students at Rockcliffe with a set heading point along the way, and that would be Constance Lake. Very easy to find. So we're just basically going there. And then from there, I'm going to go to Kingston Airport. And, right. And down here, where do we continue this? This is always a little bit awkward when you've got a line that's longer than your hand to hold it down. Anyways, here we go. So I've got my line, I've got here to here. This would be my first step, and we'd be going to Kingston. So the next step would be to make some measurements. Now, I'm going to use did you ever notice, and I just noticed today for some reason, that if you have the ICAO chart rule up, it actually is showing statute miles, which we normally don't use in aviation. We'd be using nautical miles. So you have to have it upside down. Just never noticed that before. So from Rockcliffe to Constance Lake, that's 15 nautical miles. So I'll write this right away on my chart here. Distance, so the first line is going to be 15 nautical miles, and that's CYRO to, I'll just call it SHP, such heading point. And then my Kingston here is 75 nautical miles. So SHP to CYGK is 75 nautical miles. So for most of the calculation here, I don't really need to do any calculations for the climb to the set heading point, because I know where I'm going. I don't really need to do any dead reckoning to get there. And then for the rest, I'm going to fill that in. Now I'm going to have to cheat a little bit, honestly. I couldn't find my protractor, so I used ForeFlight to tell me what my track would be, and my true course is 200 as far as I can tell. So that's that there. Now you can also see here, I can get the weather. So the pressure altitude, to calculate the pressure altitude, I would need to know what the altimeter setting, 2003 at Kingston, Ottawa McDonald Cartier 2998. So we'll just round that out to 2000. So altimeter setting is, 3000. Temperature at altitude, so we'll look at here. So 13 degrees at 6,000 feet, and it's actually 25 degrees on the ground, 23 degrees in Kingston. So, well, we'll just assume maybe 1 degree less, so let's call it 12 degrees, 1.5 degrees, 1 degree less. So at temperature at altitude, make that 12 degrees C. And our pressure altitude we'll calculate when we're actually doing our calculations with our tool. So that's really, this is essentially all I need. I can actually put in variation. The variation between here and Kingston is pretty well 14 degrees west. And that's what we have so far. I'm going to need to calculate some performance information so that we can do what we need to do. So here it is. First thing we're going to need to calculate is the pressure altitude. So we're going to be flying at 4,500 feet. Our pressure we saw was, our altimeter setting was 3,000. So we're going to do that calculation. So it's 3,000 minus 2,992, and that is 0.8. And so basically 0.8, so 80 feet. So, and that would be a negative number. So 4,500 minus 80 feet is 1,420. So that would be our pressure altitude, 4,420. So now we can go and look at our performance charts in the Cessna 172N Performance Pilot Operating Handbook. And if I look at here, the time, fuel, and distance to climb, I have at 4,000 feet, it's going to take me minimum of 6 minutes to climb, consume 1.2 gallons, so 1.2 gallons. Time, I will put this down as 6, but I know that my distance is 15, so, and the distance that this is going to take me is actually 8 minutes. Here, sorry, the distance I would get in my climb was about 8, so I'm just going to round that up to I don't know, 10 minutes. It's not really going to be a big deal, and it's not really going to affect our fuel for the amount of time we're taking. The next thing with that I'm going to need to calculate is true airspeed. So if I go on the next chart, which is the cruise performance chart back here, which is over here. So again, we're going to be flying the closest is 4,400, and our temperature is, it's not 20 degrees above, it's not at standard, it's sort of halfway. If I want to get a speed of 2,300 RPM, looks like something good, and it gives me 57%, 105, 104, if I do halfway kind of thing, 6.3 gallons and 105. 6.3 gallons fuel rate and 105 true airspeed. So you see, it's not really, it doesn't have to be extremely precise, 1 knot or half a knot over the distance that we're talking about, and for the speeds we're talking about, it's not going to make a difference. But at least we have our basic information now if we want to complete our calculations. Next steps. So I'll be completing this flight plan log, and I'm going to do it, and this is the key to this series of videos, with 4 different tools to do it. I'm going to use an ASA CX3 calculator. I'm going to use a Sporty's E6B, electronic E6B. I'm going to use a Pooley's CR1 computer, and which is the British equivalent of a classic E6B, and I'm going to use the round one, the CR3. So most of these the calculations are going to be the same thing. Obviously, difference between the 2 different electronic versions, but the manual will be the same thing. I'm calculating all the same thing, and you'll see it's really not all that difficult to do. So see you on the next videos. Thank you for watching.